Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tom, and you're watching Channel 7 News. Tonight's story is Australian identity. The concept of Australian identity is renowned worldwide for its unique elements such as the bogan, the larrikin, suburbia, the bush, indigenous culture, the beach, sport, mateship, and multiculturalism. I believe that Australian identity is made up of factors such as mateship, sport, and suburbia. Through the analysis of certain texts provided, I have been able to form my own definitions of Australian identity. The concept of mateship is a fundamental element of Australian identity. Mateship is well known to have stemmed from the spirit of the Anzacs, and this is evident in this quote. I meet up with fellow warriors beyond the pearly gate, and once again be where I belong, surrounded by my mates. This quote from the poem My Place by Phil Cadow shows the bond found in the Anzacs that was formed throughout their hardships and struggles through the concept of meeting with his fallen mates after death. Mateship forms a part of Australian identity today, with the value that Australians place on loyalty and dependence on friends all the way down to the way we greet each other. As well as the Anzacs, mateship is found in sport. Sport is an important factor in many Australians' lives and is a significant component in Australian identity. It majorly consists of teamwork, which leads to a strong sense of mateship. This is clearly demonstrated in this photo from State of Origin 2017 of Cameron Smith and Jonathan Thurston, and in this photo taken at the start of the AFL Grand Final 2017 of the Richmond Tigers warming up together. This display of mateship proves the importance of sport in Australian identity. The idea of Australian identity can be summed up using a few different components, and one of the most iconic is suburbia. Suburbia is the idea of living in a suburban area, typically with one-story house with a small backyard that is nearly identical to the surrounding neighbouring houses. This concept reflects the 50s to present idea of the Australian dream of a quarter-acre suburban home with a garden and a car. A text by Alan Ashbolt, God's Own 3 Myth and Reality, sums up suburbia perfectly with this quote, "Behold the man, the Australian man of today, on Sunday morning in the suburbs, when the high decibel drone of the motor mower is calling the faithful to worship. A block of land, a brick veneer, and the motor mower beside him in the wilderness. What does he want to sustain him except a few beers with the boys, and an occasional gamble on the horses or the lottery, the tribal rituals of football?" The concept of Australian identity is riddled throughout this quote with "a few beers with the boys," referring to mateship and camaraderie. The tribal rituals of football, it showcases the importance of sport in the Australian life and family. A block of land, a brick veneer, and the motor mower beside him in the wilderness is a beautifully accurate visualization of what suburbia is. Another example of suburbia would be The Castle. In this movie, a perfect depiction of suburbia is presented with the small backyard, the DIY renovations, and the close relationships with the neighbours. In conclusion, Australian identity can be summarised by many different elements, but it's truly the ideas and concepts that make us Australian. Through stereotypes such as the bogan or the larrikin, to ways of life such as suburbia or the bush, right down to the things we value, for example mateship and sport, the Australian identity can be found. I'm Tom from Channel 9 News. Good night. Bum, 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 bum.